What's up, everybody? Dog 1985. There's levels to this. All right, guys. I had to take a few days to make this video, but I knew I definitely wanted to make it. I'm not gonna have any spoilers in this video, so this is a safe video for you to watch if you're thinking about playing a Plague Tale Requiem. I'm gonna start off by saying, don't play a Plague Tale Requiem if you haven't played a Plague Tale Innocence. I promise you, you want to experience the first one so that you can experience this one. This is a game that didn't just take the name so that it could have the clout of being a Plex Tale game. Like, they legitimately built on the first one in every single aspect of the game and made the game better. A Plague Tale Innocence is a great game, and yet a Plague Tale Requiem is even better. Shout out to my boy Isomotion Gaming. He's the one that told me that I needed to play this. Shout out to my dude Severin. Severin actually purchased Plague Tale Innocence for me. Told me that no, he agreed with ISO. I need to play the first one. And shout out to all my channel members that watched me play this game live on stream. Actually saw me play both games live on stream. Man, I had to take a few days to make this video, like I said earlier, because there's so much emotion tied behind this game. Let me start off by saying that there's nothing that I would have changed in either of the games. But because they made the second one better than the first one, in a weird type of way, it makes that first one even better, if that makes sense. Like, the way the game played out, Plague Tale Requiem, made the entire franchise that much better. The character development is amazing. I can look at both stories and they go across each other seamlessly. It makes sense. Nothing is left out. It's not a situation where your character loses abilities or something like that, has to regain them, right? Like no, it is a legit progression of the story. The gameplay of this game is something I've never experienced before. The weapon that you use in this game is not a traditional weapon, and the modes of clearing different areas is not traditional either. And this is what I mean. Sometimes you can play games, and let's say me and you will play the same game, and we might be able to avoid one or two enemies, and they make it so that we can go ahead and do that. This game allows you to really choose your path as to how you want to clear these areas, which makes the gameplay completely up to you. You can make it as nerve-wracking as you want it to be. You can make it as action-packed as you want it to be, from all stealth to burning up people. In the same stage, you and I can play the same stage, and we can run through it where I'm burning everybody to the ends of the earth, and you can play that stage where you literally don't hurt one soul. Or you can play a stage where you're using, I'm just going to call them different elements so I don't spoil anything for anyone that hasn't played any of these games, where you're using different elements to your advantage. So it's not technically you hurting the players or whatever, the people trying to stop you from getting to your destination. Gameplay unmatched, not like nothing I've ever played before, and it's refreshing. That's the best way I could say it. The gameplay is refreshing. Nothing feels forced in either of the games, and everything makes sense. You have to be cautious of how you use your materials, but you never feel like you're completely underhanded or completely unequipped. I think I only had one time in both games where I had to backtrack to get something just because I wasted it in a way that probably I shouldn't have. Just once. Every other time, if I wasted something, or there might have been an easier way for me to get past something, there was still a different way to me to get for me to get past that obstacle, and oh, figured it out. Gameplay is phenomenal. The graphics of this game, both games look great. Obviously, A Plague Tale Requiem being a newer game looks better. However, I played them both on the Xbox Series X, and A Plague Tale Innocence does run at 60 frames. A Plague Tale Requiem runs at 40 frames per second if you have a screen that has 120 hertz, so it runs at 40 frames. Yes, 40 is better than 30, but 40 is not 60. You can tell the difference between 40 and 60 still. But yes, 40 is better than 30. That's probably the one area where I wish there was an option to run the game at 60 frames, even if we would have had to maybe drop the resolution to 1080p or whatever. That'd be my only gripe of the game for the Xbox Series X. But if you're playing it on PC, then you're fine. So the game looks great. The gameplay is amazing. And then we get to what this game is really about. And it's the narrative. Like I said before, it builds on the first one, where you see what that relationship is between the sister and her little brother. And you see how quickly she becomes literally the only person that he has in his protector. And her goal is to get him to where he needs to be. And you get him to where he needs to be. For those of you that played the game and beaten it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Every single character in both games are believable. Every single one. From the villains to the people that you think are friends that then later on become foes, to your relationship between you and Hugo, everything is just so believable. And the beginning of the story starts so strange because it's almost as if they're strangers. And I remember playing it, trying to figure out like how are they gonna build this, but they do build on that relationship. And then when you get to the end of the game, you realize that everything tied together perfectly. The way that you play the game, remember how I spoke about whether you sneak past things or whether you decide to burn people up to get through an area, all that builds to how you perceive their relationship. All of it builds to it. Because towards the end of the game, towards the climax of the game, you realize how much you sacrificed or how many people you sacrificed or what you had to endure to finally get to where you needed to get to. Hands down, this is one of the greatest games I've ever played. ISIL said to me, this is going to remind you a little bit of Hellblade. There's video games out there where you can play 2, maybe 4, maybe 5 hours of the game. And for the most part, whatever pulse you have on that game will be accurate. Will be accurate. Then there's some games out there where, whether you like it or not, you have to get to the end to truly understand. You have to get to the end to truly understand it. Hellblade to me is one of those games. If you didn't finish Hellblade, you don't understand the masterpiece that is Hellblade. If you don't finish a Plague Tale Requiem, you don't understand the masterpiece that is a Plague Tale Requiem. It's the exact same way, whether you like it or not. It's the exact same way as to how I feel about Scorn. I know a lot of people don't like Scorn, but if you get to the end of Scorn and you can realize what Scorn is about, because for every single person it's going to be different, then you see the beauty in Scorn. Scorn is literally artwork. You know how you can interpret artwork however you want? That is literally what Scorn is. A Plague Tale Requiem tells a story exactly how they want to tell it. And sometimes that's a little bit more difficult because you got to make the story, the gameplay, the game, the environments, the people in it believable. And by God, is it believable? I don't want to keep ranting about this game, but all I'm going to say is this. You owe it to yourself to play a Plague Tale Innocence first and then play a Plague Tale Requiem on whatever platform you want to play it. This is not a console war video. What these developers did, the artist, the publisher, anyone that was involved with this game, what they did was they provided us with a masterpiece that I promise you, if you play both games, you will never forget them. I will always say that when you're playing a video game, gameplay for me is key, right? Because I'm playing the video game, I want to have fun. But when a game can move you like this and you're still enjoying the game, very seldom was I playing the game had a smile on my face full of joy and fun. But man, I didn't want to put this controller down. I wanted to get to that next step. I wanted to help Hugo get to where we needed to go. And now that I finished both games, I got to say thank you for everyone that recommended it. You were not wrong. So for you out there watching this video, I didn't give out any spoilers. Go ahead and play both these games. Trust me, they deserve your time. Dog 1985, there's levels to this. We out. Peace.